Welcome, guys. Today we have a little bit of a podcast interview style video for you. Dagreenshiz Collectibles was gracious enough to come talk to us about his experience in the Pokemon hobby as well as his experience in the grading game market. We talked about CGC and some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. It was loads of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy. I guess if you want to just jump in, I have a lot of questions about CGC and WATA and all sorts of stuff that I am kind of a noob to, and you seem to have a lot more experience, so I might be picking your brain a lot on a lot of that stuff. Hopefully that's cool.
Yeah,
So
jump right into it, man.
I saw a photo. I don't know if it was on the Pokenomics Discord or not, but it was a picture of the CGC headquarters, and it said something about your new job there. I know that in your talk with Matt, I think his name was,
Yeah,
he talked about bringing you down and showing you around the facility and stuff. Did you get a sneak peek? Is that what that was?
yeah, that's all it was. So I was intentionally planning on making a video. I just got back from Florida, whatever, yesterday. Just kind of going over what it was, but it was just that. It was basically not a dog and pony show, but it was basically him showing me around, and I just got to tour the facility, but no job, no sponsorship, no actual attachment to the company, no. I won't be saying each of my episodes are sponsored by CGC or anything like that. So it was just a mutual connection where he enjoyed my content, appreciated it, and appreciated my honesty, because there was some brutal, honest videos I've had out there, and he was appreciative of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Did anything? I don't want to like spoil anything if you have future videos coming out, but did anything surprise you about? Did he show you? Did he get to show you like the actual grading process? And did anything surprise you while you were there? Like something stand out to you?
No, it was, yeah. So I got to see literally from beginning to end. Not going to go into too much detail because I don't plan on doing it in my own videos. Not too much detail. I had to sign a NDA and
Oh,
stuff,
okay, yeah.
but yeah, it was being able to see how they crack slabs was interesting.
Oh,
because
cool.
they have in their building, they're doing the sports and the trading cards, and the way they crack their slabs was a way I never even would have thought about it, and it was pretty cool to see them. Because when they get the CSG, like the sports card slabs, I don't know if you're familiar, but the they have the black labels.
Yeah, yeah.
When they get those in, because everyone's upgrading to the new labels, they're actually putting them in a vice grip and just squeezing them, and it pops them right open.
Oh, wow.
So
So
versus a PS,
something with the welding must just like come apart and pop off.
yeah, yeah, he said this is the best way to do it for our slabs, and they showed me the PSA way and all that other stuff. But that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. It like literally 2 seconds done, and it was,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, the grading process was everything kind of you'd expect it to be. A bunch of nerds sitting around at tables grading cards. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it was pretty cool though. It was cool to see it firsthand.
That's cool. Before we get too into the weeds on the CGC stuff, I have to ask, where did your name on YouTube come from, and why is the shiz green?
My last name's Green. My name's Josh Green, so that's where the green part came from.
Gotcha.
Xbox 360 gamer tag was the green shiz. There's probably a 0 and a 9 on it, or some number on the end of it, but it was one of my earlier gamer tags, and now it's just Greeny, I think, on all of my Xbox stuff, but which is where my Discord name, I think, is just Greeny.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's it. And
Okay.
I wanted something that was kind of just, I didn't want Pokemon in the name because I wanted to be other collectibles, right? I want to
Yeah.
be more broad than just the Pokemon trading card game. So I don't want to have Pokemon in the name. I want something I could trademark eventually and be brandable. So that's kind of how I picked. It's a green poop emoji. It's
Yeah.
not. My wife hates it. She sees it. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, really, a poop emoji? Like, this is what you come up with?" I'm like, this is it. This,
Well,
I
it's
think,
it's memorable. It's memorable.
yeah,
So that's good.
yep, yeah. It stands out in the crowd. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at your channel, your very first videos are World of Warcraft box openings,
Yeah.
which I think are pretty cool. The WoW TCG is very interesting how they kind of inserted skins and different things into the boxes. But what got you kind of back into Pokemon? Looks like about a year ago, got back into, or at least making content on it.
Yeah. So the content started I'm losing track of time. So right when COVID started, which was not last year, right? It was the year before that.
Yeah,
It
year
was
before.
so that year I started buying and selling Pokemon. So right when COVID started, like May or June, somebody had posted something on Facebook Marketplace and I saw it, and I had not touched Pokemon since probably a while. It was a while, a long time. So
Yeah.
I kind of kept up with the TCG because I had friends that play it, but as far as collecting vintage, nothing at all. So somebody posted a collection. It was like base set, jungle, fossil, both gym sets, the complete Black Star promo for like $2,000. Somebody posted, I was like, that seems cheap. I'm gonna buy it. I went and bought it. It was like a 30-minute drive, and then flipped it. So I told my wife, she shit herself. Basically, I don't know if I could swear. Let me know now.
Yeah, that's
So
fine. That's fine.
basically told my wife I'm gonna go spend $2,000 on Pokemon cards, and she about slapped me.
Yeah.
I was like, I promise I'll make money. So
Yeah.
I basically had to prove to her I bought them, flipped them for like $4,000 in like a week. So she's like, all right, good luck. keep going. And then
Yeah.
I kept going. So
That's
that
awesome.
I was probably buying and selling Pokemon for 9 months before I started doing any YouTube videos.
Oh, cool. So you started well before content.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And then content happened like it was in Christmas time. I had time off work, and it was the World of Warcraft videos. I kind of just wanted to record myself to remember the boxes. And that's
Yeah.
how the video, just remembering the collection, and it's come a long way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, your channel's been popping off. I love the interviews you have with people. Those are really cool. You got Ruxin on there. That was really a fun interview to watch, and yeah, lots of good stuff.
Hell yeah.
I
Appreciate it.
appreciate your content. I really enjoy watching it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So, how would you say you interact in the hobby? Like, what kind of aspects of interaction do you have with the cards?
Primarily collector. I do selling on eBay some. It's been slow. Like I listed out everything probably 4 months ago, and I haven't gone through adjust prices for the decrease and everything.
Yeah.
So I'll sell a card a week, um, which is okay. Like it's most of my cards are probably more expensive, probably $100 plus. So I'll sell a card a week, and it is what it is, and but I'm still constantly buying, which is a problem.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, primarily collector. I have a hard time selling cards,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, so do I. I do a lot of buying from Japan and bringing cards in and grading them and then selling them.
yep.
But sometimes you get like that really nice promo and it gets like a 9.5 CGC 9.5 and you're like,
Yep.
I don't think I want to part with that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, up until probably the last 4 months, when I'd get a CGC return, it would be flipped almost immediately, either on Facebook groups, Instagram, maybe not Instagram really, but I did a lot of, like, my first 9 months was buying and selling through Facebook groups. So that's where I was doing selling raw cards on Facebook, and literally grading didn't happen for me until YouTube, essentially. So I didn't touch graded cards for like 10 months.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
lots of raw cards.
I made the mistake of jumping right into grading. Bought a case of Vivid Voltage, through Amazing Rares, Rainbow Rares,
Yep.
whatever. Took a year for them to come back, and I basically lost my ass on it. So I did the exact opposite of what you probably should do when you first start, but it was a learning experience.
Bad timing. It was unlucky for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the grading fee at that time?
I think they were $8 a card for
Yeah.
bulk, so it was still pretty cheap.
Yeah. Ain't
But
terrible.
no.
Yeah. Damn.
At what part of all that would you say you get the greatest enjoyment from? Like where's the endorphin hit? Which part of it?
Definitely. I don't know. I love getting more graded cards in the mail. I love like I've been on a huge Yu-Gi-Oh kick because I played a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I just love. I have a lot more nostalgia, it seems, for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh
The
yeah.
cards I played in the tournaments, and I don't know. I just got done playing. My buddy came over. We played some vintage Yu-Gi-Oh games downstairs at the table. So that just to having like I have a few graded cards on my desk and a bunch of crap that I need to move, but I don't know, just like looking at my cards, and binders don't really do it for me like they originally did.
Yeah.
First thing I did was binder sets, and kind of, I don't know if you say graduated, because a lot of people still love them, but I just went away from it because it was just harder to sell them. If I wanted to sell them, selling raw cards is a son of a gun, that's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely prefer selling slabs, especially with
Yeah.
eBay's new, like, authenticity guarantee and stuff like
Yep.
that. It gets a little bit more hairy with the raw cards.
Yep. Is that authenticity guarantee? Is it still $750? They drop that.
I think they are going to at least add graded cards, right, at some point, and then
I
I think
think
they're going to
yep.
drop
I think
probably.
rated's on there. I think I either just bought a card or I just listed a card that said authenticity guarantee.
And that's
So,
interesting because if it goes through CGC, right? And if you buy a CGC graded card, do they just look at it? I guess it gets sent to them, and they take a look and make sure that nothing
yeah,
crazy happened.
I'm sure that's a much faster passer than like looking at a BGS slab or a PSA slab for sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure they just cross it to the registry because they take a picture of every single card, which BGS doesn't do.
yeah.
So
So, do you
yeah,
have a particular childhood memory that sticks out in terms of either Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or any of the card collecting?
yeah. During my wedding, my best man had mentioned Pokemon, and this was before I was back into Pokemon. It was in my best man speech for my wedding. I had stole his Butterfree when we were children. And my mom simultaneously after I did that, she gave all of my cards away to my cousin, and those have been gone in an attic somewhere ever since. So
Yeah,
that's my most memorable moment in
yeah, that's
Pokemon,
awesome.
which is pretty crappy. But I definitely didn't have anything amazing. It was like base unlimited, jungle, probably all unlimited cards, fossil. I'd get maybe a pack every couple weeks.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was definitely my biggest. It was probably like a 5 minute long speech he gave too, and I gotta upload it to YouTube one time, and
yeah,
it was yeah. So it's pretty funny.
yeah. That's awesome. My every birthday we'd have a day with our grandma.
Yeah,
She was really into collecting sports cards actually, which is kind of funny. She really liked like Kirby Puckett and different like twins players, and so
yep,
she would take us to a place downtown Minneapolis that was a card store, Shinder's Cards, and they used to
yep.
have Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and I'd always be in the Pokemon area, and she'd have no idea what any of it was. She'd be in the sports, like flipping through rookie cards and everything, but it was a cool experience because she would always kind of facilitate that collecting with us. So it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
awesome.
I guess I'll give you a positive one real quick because that was kind of a negative one. I had there's a Yu-Gi-Oh card I had wanted. I forget what age. I was probably 12 years old ish, and had been bugging my mom and just on her about it. Like money wasn't coming off the trees at that point. She was
Yeah,
working pretty hard for money with my parents being divorced. But yeah, she ended up going to like a trade center. It was like a flea market. She bought the card I wanted, put it in this giant box, like a single Yu-Gi-Oh card in a giant box. And on Christmas Day, that was like one of the only things I got because it was probably like an $80 card.
yeah,
And that was huge. It was a Breaker the Magical Warrior, but that
yeah.
was pretty awesome. That was huge.
That is awesome. Yeah, my brother and I do the Christmas thing where we like twine presents and wrap it in duct tape and
Barbed
stuff.
wire and
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. Make it absolutely as awful as possible for the other person.
30 minutes to open a gift, you
Yeah.
know?
And then there's just like a gift card in it or something.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So I noticed on your channel you don't do a lot with modern. Mostly
No,
just vintage at this point, or do you open modern at all, or
no, I opened just 2 packs of celebrations. I don't know. It's I hate opening stuff because I lose money. I
true? That's yes.
anytime I do, like I did a bunch of giveaways for Christmas this past Christmas. I don't know if you were watching then, but I gave away a bunch and I opened a bunch. So I opened a bunch on my channel and gave everything away. So
Mm,
that's usually what I do for my openings is give it away. Just because I don't feel bad for myself losing money. I'm more making these people have something they didn't have before. But
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I own 1 box of XY Evolutions. That's the I think I have one box of Evolving Skies too, set claps.
Yeah.
But those are my only two modern boxes. I like Amazing Rare Kyogre.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah,
just there's different arts I like a lot, and I don't chase boxes because it's definitely an L every time. It doesn't
yeah,
matter what box it is. If you're chasing a single card, you're not going to win, especially these like the Umbreon, like that. What is it? Almost $1,000 for the PSA 10
yeah, yeah.
alternative art Umbreon from Evolving Skies. Like, how many packs do you got to open to pull that card? Like,
Hundreds. Yeah,
yeah, you might as well just buy the $400-$500 single card at that point, and
yeah,
it's crazy. And you know exactly what condition it is you're buying instead of getting like a super OC one out of the pack. Like, I don't know. I don't like taking L's and
yeah,
ripping packs. It's nostalgic. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! For some reason, when I get a Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I got vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff comes in, I'll rip it open. I can't do modern just because I know it's an L. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely I like to open like one box of the new set and stuff on the channel and
Yep.
but I used to open like a case and then
Mhm.
it got to the point where like, okay, I'm not making my money back on the case and I'm actually losing a lot. So I'm not gonna do cases anymore. I think we're just gonna stick to I want to buy a lot more singles and stick to just opening like one box for every new set.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I did the last I did open a Brilliant Stars box on my channel, and I did like a box break. The first ever box break I did on my channel, and it was $2 per pack.
oh wow.
I sold to the people, and then I think I added $5 shipping, and
Yeah.
then get up to 5 packs. So it was almost I lost money, and it was
Yeah.
basically just to open a box of the new set, and I didn't completely lose my balls,
Yeah.
but I got some money back, so it was cool.
Yeah. Um So I have a question for you. So you've cracked a lot more slabs than I have, and you've been doing like the cracked slabs, resubmitting,
Yeah.
seeing if you can upgrade stuff like that. So I feel like there's a lot of like myths in Pokemon, and I don't know how true some of them are. So I'm curious what you think behind the whole sending in the graded card in the slab to be regraded or cross graded at a different company versus cracking it to raw and then submitting it to that company. Is there really like do you think there's really something in the grader's mind that says if that other company graded it this, it's probably that, and I'm going to figure out how it's that grade? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of that, and then also it being inside of like a 40 millimeter thick plastic case. It's tough to say, okay, this is a CGC Perfect 10. Let's cross it to a black label. Like getting that detailed on like a CGC Perfect 10 to see no flaws through the plastic, because the
Yeah.
plastic's always got scratches or scuffs, even if it's minor, they're on there. Like it's tough. Like that alone could make it almost hard to want to crack it out. Because I've seen where Beckett does crack it out and they see an issue and they send your card back cracked, and it's not graded anymore. Like you got a
Yeah.
raw card sent in your lap because they didn't see the flaw in the slab. But yeah, there's definitely I've submitted a handful. Every single one of them have came back. A handful of them already graded, not cracked.
Yeah.
Every one of them's come back with in the original slab.
Oh, okay.
Um, and that's always me trying to upgrade. There was a one I did was like a CGC 9 Lugia first edition that I wanted in a PSA 9 slab because it's probably $500 more.
Yeah.
And it just came back in the CGC 9 slab. They didn't do anything with it, but
Oh, they didn't even just like re-slab it to PSA. They just sent
no,
it back.
they didn't even want to give it a PSA 9. So I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
So yeah, I've spent $100 to do that, which blew, and kind of learned my lesson. I'm like, it's not usually like I'd rather just crack it at this point. Like I'm sitting like this that Monarch card that I showed.
Hmm.
It's probably $600 as it sits, but if it got a 10, it'd be a pop one. So I really want to crack it
Give it a shot.
and give it another fair go at it, and maybe get a different grader because this thing is beautiful. So yeah, it's I don't think there's a lot of bias, 100%, and that and then looking through the plastic just is not ideal at all.
And with Yu-Gi-Oh grading, is it just card quality? Like the quality of the cards out of the pack can not just not be very good, or because I feel like a lot of people say that Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot harder to grade than something like Pokemon.
Yeah, they have similar issues like Pokemon. Like the most recent Yu-Gi-Oh set, my buddy was telling me is it's dog crap. So similar centering issues. I don't know what it is about America. They cannot cut or print cards properly.
Yeah.
Because it seems the cards from Japan are all pretty damn good for Yu-Gi-Oh. The yeah, similar issues. They have random sets that do look and come really clean. Like we have that here as well.
Yeah.
They change their blades or whatever it is. I'm not sure, but um, pretty much as far as I could tell, it's very similar grading from PSA. I've not graded Yu-Gi-Oh yet at CGC, but I got a stack here building up to go.
Okay. Cool.
Um, I hope they grade them the same. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah.
there are Yu-Gi-Oh experts and Pokemon experts, so not all the same graders might be getting the same card. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Um, do you have any advice for someone who's never cracked a slab before, who has a bunch of CGC nines that he might want to make PSA tens?
Yeah, it's tough. Honestly, when I do it, I'm looking for you have PSA cards, I'm assuming, or no?
I don't. I've never graded with PSA,
Never
just with
graded them.
CGC at this
Yep.
point.
Wow. Yeah, it's much easier to get a PSA 10 over a CGC 10. As you can see in just any modern, like if you look at Brilliant Stars grading, like the number of tens is just
Yeah.
crazy on PSA versus CGC. Even still with like the changed grading standards, like they're still not giving out tens for free. Um, it's tough because like if I had a stack of nines, obviously some of the nines, do they all have subgrades or no subgrades?
No subgrades, and actually they're 9.5. Sorry, I didn't say
Nine
the fives,
fives.
but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing I do, because there are 9.5s that have whitening on the back. If they got a 9.5 corners or a nine corners or nine edges, they do exist. But I would just take out the ones that don't have whitening, because if any ounce of whitening, it could get a nine.
Yeah.
I'd be the guy kind of just be like, okay, I need basically a perfect back with my 9.5s, because I have a 9.5 Expedition Charizard. If I got a 10, that'd be huge. But
Oh yeah.
the thing's not going to get a 10. I could tell you all day. It's got 495 subgrades, but it's not going to get a 10. Um, so I've never cracked it, and I probably never will. It's tough. It's you just got to weigh everything. The first thing I'd look at though is the centering, and then of course the if there's whitening, there's bad 9.5s and there's good ones, especially not having subgrades. It's a little bit more work involved.
Yeah. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, so now I have a whole bunch of CGC questions.
Let's go.
And yeah, just let me know, obviously, if you can't answer any of them, or any one of them that I ask, just in case.
Hell yeah.
Um, but let's see, where should we start? So your interview with Matt was super awesome, and the honesty that you talked about before, I thought in the first half of the interview, I was like, oh, is he actually going to ask like the burning questions? And then the second half was all burning questions, and I was
Yeah.
like, yes. Thankfully,
Yeah.
he went in and he asked all of them that everyone would like to hear from them about. So
Yep.
that was super cool. Uh, there were a couple things where I'm not too sold on the answers that you got.
They're political for sure.
Yeah, the more CGC tens just overall, it still does just seem like they have loosened that top end.
Yeah, and like I have nothing I can, like, I'm wide open on answering this type of questions, but yeah, I obviously the numbers speak for themselves. The change has been drastic as far as the number. Like I submitted 7 Kyogre Amazing Rares that were graded 9.5s, and I just cracked and resubbed them, got 2 10s back. So
Yeah,
there's only 39 10s. That was pretty damn good.
yeah,
Over
that's awesome.
4,000 graded, and I got 2 more 10s. So, but definitely the numbers are there. Like I get what I think he was saying, that people are learning, adapting. I agree with that. Box breaks, of course, should definitely pull more tens, but people have been breaking boxes since the inception of
Yeah.
CGC. Yeah, his answer was political. It wasn't wrong, I'd say, but it wasn't the answer everybody wanted to hear, which
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
and I don't think he could sign up to give me that answer.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, definitely. I think it's better in my opinion. I do think it's better that there are more tens because I feel like that was the last thing from people that people really didn't like about CGC was how it was so much harder to get tens.
yeah,
And I know that that initial when everyone was talking about it right away, and we kind of thought we were onto something. A lot of people were, I think, initially kind of mad about it because a lot of like early adopters and stuff that
yeah,
didn't get tens initially. Um, but I think overall, probably a positive going forward. What do you think on that?
yeah. I'm extremely sad.
Yeah,
As far as looking back, like, damn, I spent tons of money, got tons of nines, handful of really good 9.5s, a few tens, and pretty much everything I've ever submitted was vintage or an amazing rare Kyogre.
yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy. And to be honest, I've never got a CGC 10 amazing rare Kyogre from any of my submissions. And that was like 30 cards until I just did this resubmission. Yeah, so I'm really happy they are doing tens. 10 collectors. Like I have a CGC 9 base unlimited hollow set. That thing would look awesome in a 10 set. Like
Oh yeah, that would.
it's just a 9 set, it's not what the people want to see. Like you want to chase the highest, and 10, even now, even still, like getting a CGC 10 base unlimited set, like good luck. It's still
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
a son of a gun. It's not gonna be the easiest thing, but I definitely like modern is getting treated like it should. You should definitely be pulling way more tens with the way these cards look. Watsy was definitely printed, and you had definitely more whitening on the corners. And but yeah, being able to get the modern cards in CGC 10s at a lower rate than PSA, which I think is awesome. It'll definitely hold more value, I think, for the modern cards because the populations, like for the new cards, like the population on PSA 10 Umbreon alternative arts is going to be through the roof.
yeah. It's
But the
crazy.
CGC 10, there's going to be, I don't know, 20, 30 of them. It's
Yeah,
going to be like the new premium I would hope to see. Um, but all in all, it's positive. I'm happy to see it, and has reopened the door to me. Like I would not have resubbed those whatever 13 cards I had submitted to achieve better grades
yeah,
have they not made a change, and it definitely proved out to be that way. So
yeah. I think as a company that's 2.5 years into now grading, Pokemon and other TCGs, I
yep,
think that there's definitely a lot that they've changed, that they've listened to people and like made better over time, which I think is good because I think some of these guys like PSA and BGS, I'm not sure that they would be so receptive to people telling them like, hey, this is what we think is wrong with your product and how you can make it better, like centering the grade in the little white box and
yeah,
changing the gradient on the label and just making all of those. It seemed like the community was yelling about it and they actually listened and made those changes. So it's
yep,
kind of nice to see that from a company like that.
100%. I know a lot of people wanted them to do because are you familiar with what they did to change the sports cards?
Yeah, they got rid of the 9.5, right?
They did not get rid of the 9.5. They
Oh,
pretty much they took all because it used to be their 9.5s used to be gem mints, right?
yeah, yeah.
Now the 10 is gem mint. So you were able to resubmit your 9.5s to get upgraded to a 10.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So now the 9.5 is like almost gem mint. So if
Yeah,
you submit a card now raw, you can get a 9.5, but it's not considered gem mint. The 10 is gem mint.
gotcha.
They got rid of subgrades. That's what they eliminated.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So
Speaking of subgrades, did you see Rattle's video about the CGC subgrades and non-subgrade submissions
I'm
by
sure I
chance?
have it. Yeah.
It was essentially claiming that grading without subgrades, you had a higher chance of getting a 10 than grading with subgrades. Um, how do you feel about that? Because I kind of felt like his video didn't cover a lot of the different variables that
Yeah,
could be at play for that, but I have seen it from quite a few people now at this point. What do you think?
100% agree. I do think it's easier without subgrades, but I also since it's changed, right? Unofficially, the grading standards. I have not submitted a card with subgrades to a try and get a 10, but
Yeah.
from everything I've seen and talking with Matt, just they do take more time grading with subgrades. Like I had meant I think he had mentioned in the discussion that when you're grading a card without subgrades, you can look straight away at the centering. If the centering's trashed, then you know that it's not going to be a 10 or whatever. It's not going to round up. So um I think the subgrades, I don't know, at least back in the day, I got to get a 10 subgrade was damn impossible. Like I
Yeah.
got 100 plus card submission returns, mint vintage cards, and maybe 110 subgrade out of all those. And it was like centering. Like
Yeah.
uh I feel like they've probably lightened up a little bit since then, but I feel like it's for whatever reason, I can't put my finger on it besides them taking a little more time, scrutinizing everything, because it is a few more seconds where they got to take it, look it, add it up, do all the math. It's built different. I
Yeah.
don't know that's how to say it, but
It's
I
it's
wish I
interesting.
submitted all these cards without subgrades. Everything I've ever submitted until this very last one was with subgrades, and yeah,
Yeah. It's interesting to me that they would technically be like two different services essentially. Because in my opinion, or I guess in my thought process, I you would kind of create the subgrades to create the final grade, but you just wouldn't put them on the label, right? But apparently that's not the case. They spend a lot less time looking at the card. They're able to just kind of give it a grade, kind of at not at a glance, but just at a lot less of
yep, just like
scrutinizing.
yep, just like how PSA does it. You can pick it up and bam, bam, okay, next. It's yeah, it's and
Yeah,
they definitely don't record subgrades because they accidentally I paid for subgrades one time and they sent me my slabs without subgrades. And then I said, hey, can I send you this card back? And can you guys just put the subgrades it had on the slab?
yeah,
And he said, no, we don't record them. He said, but, which is really weird, they'll take my card, they'll crack it out. Because it got a CGC 9, they will assign it subgrades that add up to a CGC 9. I was
but then
like,
you don't know if they're the legit subgrades or not.
yeah,
Like,
it's like, there's a little bit of bias there now. It's
yeah,
so they're just going to throw a dart and make this thing round to a 9. And I'm like, I don't like it. So,
yeah,
uh, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but I definitely agree. I wish it was. I wish they're too far now. Like CS, this company, the sports company, was not as far through grading as many cards, so
hmm
they can make that drastic change, getting rid of subgrades, so that or else they probably would have followed suit and did the same thing.
yeah,
Um, Unfortunately, it's not going to be that way. But I see going forward, a lot less cards will get subgrades based on just the sheer results. Because if you look at pop reports, a lot of the 10s don't have subgrades, and PK Pokemon Knowledge had gone through that and kind of shown some of the E series cards. And it's true. Most like if those numbers speak too. So you can
yeah.
click on the individual pops, and it'll show which ones have subgrades. So
I think the analysis that Rattle did was on Aquapolis essentially, and it was like um, all of the tens didn't have subgrades, or maybe there was one ten that had subgrades, and then there was loads of like 9.5s to 8.5s that all had subgrades. And while I think that's pretty good evidence, I think in some ways though it leaves out some things that are kind of important, like when those cards were graded, because they could have been like one submission sent in, or not one submission, but sent in within the time frame in which they had expanded that
yep,
top lane, um, and yeah, just it seemed like there were a few variables that were missing in the video to really concrete it in my mind, but
Yep.
it definitely, it's a good piece of evidence
I think the
towards.
biggest thing, which I haven't gone back to do, which would be to look at the lower grades. So we looked at the tens and saw, okay, one of these has subgrades, but now let's look at the nines, let's look at the 9.5s, let's look at the 8.5s. And if it's consistent all the way down, and maybe just as a matter of fact, 99% of the people submitting that card only wanted no subgrades. Like maybe
Yeah,
just that 1% of people submitted that card asking for subgrades, which
right. I mean,
unlikely, but
well, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, I can see that. But again, kind of timing though, because when subgrades hit $10 per card, there was no way I was ever going to put subgrades on the cards ever again, just because that increased like the grading cost way too much. It basically doubled the grading cost for bulk. So
yeah.
at that point, I was just like, nope, nothing going forward is going to have subgrades. So it could just, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see where that could come into play for yeah, it's weird thinking that they're two different services because at this point, like, why would you ever do anything with subgrades at this point?
Yeah. It's
Um,
it was definitely like it can be good or bad. Like I have my CGC, like I said, that CGC 9 first edition Lugia I got, they sent to me without subgrades, and I've never just sent it to them to get fixed because it has the bias now. They would just assign
yeah,
grades to it. Um, I really would love to have subgrades on it, but the subgrades could hurt it. Like there could be an 8.5 surface, and now everybody that sees it is gonna be like, I'd rather not. So
yeah,
it looks better with just a 9 and no 8.5s, but if you had a bunch of 9.5s and a couple nines, it looks better. So just the round number, like PSA, I prefer it,
yeah,
but it doesn't fill out the slab as much on the CGC. Unfortunately, it looks emptier
yeah.
without the subgrades.
So speaking of the 8.5s, you have submitted a lot more cards to CGC than I have. Uh, when someone like Dan from Pokenomics, I've heard him saying a couple times in his videos that the beware of CGC 8.5s because they could have dents. I've sent in quite a few cards to CGC, quite a few like vintage cards that have come back 6.5, 7, 7.5, and I haven't seen a lot of 8.5s that have had dents on them. What do you think about that claim? Because I've heard it from multiple different people that those 8.5s could have dents.
Yeah, so a couple of instances. One was a first edition T17 Typhlosion, and then I think no, that yeah, it was I think got an 8, but similar. The Typhlosion had a binder ding, got an 8.5. Did not submit to PSA because of that. I knew it'd get
Yeah,
like a 6 off the bat because they basically assigned it a 7.5 surface, and the rest of the card was mint, so it carried it up to an 8.5 because you can get one number grade total above the lowest if it rounds good. So was able to do it there, and then I cracked like a PSA 5 Shadowless Blastoise. I got a CGC 8 similar thing, was pretty dang mint, had a binder ding in it. So yeah, they are definitely more relaxed on surface, but have never submitted a binder ding card without subgrades. And I feel like that would play an effect because if you get somebody looking at it, I don't know, because like the PSA way, right? You look at it, binder ding, damage PSA 6.
yeah,
CGC, when you throw in all the numbers, they say they do the math and everything, even without subgrades. They kind of do it in their head, right? Instead of
yeah,
writing it down. But I don't know. I don't feel confident enough to, like, if I submitted a card without subgrades and forced them to do that math on paper, I feel like I'd get a better grade. All day I would submit with subgrades with a binder ding card just because
yeah,
I know, and I want to see them do that math. I want to see how they came up with a grade.
yeah,
I want to see that surface have that 7.5 and see all the rest of these mint areas of the card got and carried it to where it is. Um, so yeah, I do it. I love sending binder ding cards to CG. I look all the time for PSA 6 cards to send to CGC. Um, as far as, yeah, so you can find CGC 85s out there with binder dings. So
And do you
yeah,
think that's people just viewing those cards through the lens of PSA, or is it? Do you think it's what am I trying to say? You think that's acceptable? Like, do you think that the way that CGC does it, where they kind of incorporate all the grades, they don't automatically ding the card all the way down to a 6
yeah.
straight away? Like, do you think that's better? And do you think people are just evaluating it with like a PSA lens, saying that it's unacceptable and all that, or what do you think?
Yeah, I like CGC's method a lot more because most of the time, if you look at a binder ding card in a slab,
You're
thing
not going to
looks
see it.
beautiful. Like
Yeah,
you gotta like looking through the plastic to see a binder ding. You gotta hold that at a perfect 27.5 degree angle with a perfect sunshine on it to see it. Like you gotta, it's a struggle. So the eye quality, it's beautiful still. So I don't, and I love the fact like PSA assigns a 6 to a binder ding. And you could tell when you look at a PSA 6, and if you just eBay search PSA 6 Pokemon cards, you'll see which cards have binder dings clear as day because the thing don't have whitening, and
yeah,
it's so easy to see it. But I definitely think I like CGC's method. I like it's more of an eye quality, like a binder ding. It's there. It's not. I mean, it's a ding, right? But the quality of the card still looks perfect, beautiful in the slab. So let it ride.
yeah, yeah. Same with cards that basically are always going to have dings, like those Misaki marks and stuff. It's like the Misaki cards are always going to have those marks unless you get extremely lucky. So it's kind of like it's almost like a
Yep.
manufacturer error at that point. Like
Yep.
it should be incorporated into the grade in a way that it's not immediately just taken all the way down to 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I feel like they've treated different things that way, like the silvering on like Jungle and Fossil. They've seemed to have always been pretty laxed on it
Yeah,
and not hammered them on edges for at PSA. It's kind of just been you can get a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 with a decent amount of silvering on it because it comes out of it's manufactured that way. It's the way it is.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I pretty sad like that, right? The PSA Pop 11 card I have, the ultimate rares have a really bad emboss on the back from their ultimate rare stamp. So it's got to be why it got a 9. It's not perfect, right, for
yeah,
PSA, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how CGC does with them.
yeah. Um, so you made a video about CGC kind of reaching out and letting you know that they were watching your content, and you seemed a little frustrated by it a little bit. Like maybe not frustrated, but kind of mixed feelings about how you may have to change some things up now because you don't want things. You know that they're watching, and you don't want any sort of bias come your way or anything. How did you feel when you got the email, and then like what did you change, or what are you going to change because of that?
It was cool. It was pretty at the same. It was cool to get a message from CGC. Like I had messaged customer service before asking for
Yeah,
things to get fixed and stuff like that, but this was an Instagram message saying, "Hey man, this is so and so, and I appreciate checking out your content. It's pretty cool. Um, appreciate the scrutiny at times. I appreciate the honesty." Is pretty much what it boiled down to.
yeah,
Um, so that was that, but I liked it at that point. Like it was cool just to get the recognition from them only having 800 something subscribers, but that was cool. But yeah, it definitely went into my mind because I was sitting on a stack of cards. Hey, I'm going to submit these to CGC now, and because the way I've always done it, because I knew I didn't have much of a bunch of eyes on my stuff, I would record videos of all of my cards before I submitted them. And so doing that, it would kind of give them a heads up. Hey, Josh is submitting 27 Kyogre Amazing Rares that he just cracked out of a slab. Let's smack the shit out of them when these get here and give them all 8 5s. But luckily that didn't happen. But
yeah,
basically I did nothing. I was going to do it, but after talking with Matt, basically got assurance and basically proved it to me when I was down there that there's essentially no way they could track me. The cards come in and they're basically no name is on these at any point. It's basically a label with a barcode
Oh, that's
traveling
good.
through their system.
Yeah.
So it would not be possible. And I got a couple tens, so
Yeah.
it showed that it would. It I was able to upgrade out of 7 cards. I got 2 tens, so they definitely didn't hunt down my cards, and I'm happy to see that. And so I don't plan on changing it for the most part. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like on one side, it's really cool that they're actually taking in the content of especially creators our size and
Yeah.
actually listening to people. You can see that with the changes that they make. It seems like they are a part of the community in a lot of ways,
Yep.
which makes them more relatable, I guess, as a company. Uh, but yeah, it had to be a little weird. Like, okay, the people that I'm relying on to grade these things are watching my videos, and they know like what cards I'm submitting, and maybe I need to be a little bit more, yeah,
Yeah.
strict about that.
Yeah. Luckily, and I'm glad they didn't really offer me anything. And they want to continue to see me just be as honest as I am. And like right after he reached out to me, I look back, I'm like, oh God, I feel like I just trashed these guys recently. So I look back at one of my thumbnails and it was like a sinking ship. And I had an arrow pointing like, here's CGC. Like, I'm like, oh boy. Like, but yeah, he just had nothing but respect for me because I was my honest opinion, and it is what it is. Like it
Yeah,
is. I'm not shooting any crap out of my videos.
that's cool.
It's all truth, really.
Yeah, that's cool. How do you think CGC is going to be affected when PSA ultimately comes back to that $20-15 a card range? And what do you think CGC would have to do to stay uh, to keep people wanting to submit with them, given the market acceptance still isn't there yet?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That whole scenario. I know CGC's graded so probably almost 1.4 million Pokemon cards in 2 years this July. I believe it would be 2 years in July. And PSA is graded a total of 3 million something, 3.3 or
Yeah,
3.5 in their entire existence. So they're getting gained on pretty quick as far as total quantity. Obviously, PSA owns the vintage because they existed.
yeah,
And that's, of course, you beat everybody to the punch. So you got all the vintage stuff. But I really will be, because a lot of people, like you ask Dan Catchmall Collectibles, he enjoys the way their slab looks better. It's clear, the nicer
yeah,
label. I agree on that front. I like tens. So I have PSA 10 Zapdos cards. Like I can't collect those same cards in CGC slabs because they'd all be nines, and doesn't do anything for my OCD. That drives
yeah,
me freaking nuts. But as far as that price, that does nothing to do with the price thing you asked me, but it's kind of related. uh, I, their price will drop. Obviously, it'll if not be the same, it'll be cheaper. I'm getting this speculation, but you got to keep up with the competition. Competition's great. So PSA dropping their price, which will probably be, I'm sure we'll have some type of another, because it's currently $50 for all of us. And then we'll probably have a new lottery this year sometime, maybe $35, 30, I don't know, something.
yeah,
Um, but it seems like it might be another couple of years until we can experience the $10, $20. So I don't know. It's a long ways away. I feel like still especially the $10 might be a year and a half, I'm guessing,
yeah.
because that would be insane. Because sports cards will bury them.
Oh
Pokemon might
yeah,
not bury them. Sports cards will get buried. Every year they got new rookies. They print a crap ton. So that will backlog them before Pokemon does, probably when they reopen. Um, but God knows everybody's got their stack of cards to send a PSA once it hits $10, right? So,
yeah,
but CGC originally started at $7 a slab. I think it was like $8 with subgrades or something like that. If you had like the full discount, 15,
yeah,
20% or whatever it was. So if they could ever get that low again, like shit, like that's
yeah.
crazy. I'm sure they could. If they needed to, they could probably go back to that, and that seems really low,
Yeah,
especially with inflation. But
it seems like
could
you'd
have.
be playing a little bit of a game where like if you get too low, then people are going to submit cards that they obviously shouldn't be getting graded because it's so low.
Yep.
But if you stay too high and PSA comes down, then you're competing directly with them, and a lot of people are just probably going to go to PSA because of the market. So it's the weird balancing act that CGC will have to do. One thing that I would really like for them to do personally is cut the 50 bulk to 25. I think that would be
At
pretty
CGC,
awesome, yeah, at CGC, because
yeah. Yep.
it's so hard for me to come up with 50 cards sometimes. Just like, I have 25, just let me send them bulk. But yeah.
Send them to a middleman. There's no limit.
Oh, yeah. I've never used a middleman yet. Typically, I just submit my own, but
Yeah, I have two. I started out with middlemen, and you could submit any quantity, so that was the nicest part. But yeah, I definitely graduated away from that pretty quick after it saved me money and time, because it's definitely faster doing it yourself. But if you're stuck on 25 cards,
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Is that Polaris? Is that
yeah,
the one
that's
that Dan
yep,
talks about?
yep. So
Yeah, I'll have to think about that.
not a bad
Um,
option. I know the turnaround time's gotten pretty good. So
yeah, yeah, the turnaround time's insane. I sent a bulk submission just a couple months ago, and I think it was 13 days. It came back. It was
that's dope.
crazy.
My friend submitted a bulk. There was a card, is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, turned around in a day. So
Yeah, that's nuts. A
yeah, I
bulk
don't know if they
card.
mixed that package with a Super Express or whatever, but it definitely
Yeah,
came through quick. Yeah, so
yeah, that's
turnaround times help. If you can turn around cards like that, like
yeah,
that's see, like when I was first starting to grade cards, PSA wasn't really open. They were for a little bit, so I was able to submit a couple things to them, couple submissions, but quickly after that they closed. And I'm like, well, shit.
yeah.
I bought I total probably $30,000 worth of collections, and I wanted to flip them. So they went to CGC. They slapped me with a bunch of nines, and I made money. So
Yeah.
they were still was able to do it. I didn't want to wait on PSA, obviously, for obvious reasons, and worked out. So
Yeah, sometimes I think like I've never even owned a PSA card, so having only ever graded with CGC over the past, year and a half, I it makes me feel like, okay, if I submit with PSA and I get a 10 back, is it going to feel like a 10? Because right now, when I get a 10, it's like, holy crap, this
yeah,
like there's not a lot of these,
game
but
changer. Yeah.
PSA, 40% of cards submitted come back 10, so it's like, is it going to feel like a 10? Is it going to look like a 10? You know,
Yeah. I when I submit my vintage cards to PSA, it still feels like a damn 10.
yeah.
But I could tell you, if I was submitting modern, if it don't come back at 10, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty pointless. Like I my buddy, he gave me this modern card because it's his favorite Pokemon,
Oh, nice.
Radiant Halucha. And he's
Yeah.
like, you need to he wants me to send this to PSA for $50.
Oh, Jesus.
And
Yeah.
I was like, if you don't get a 10, I will cry for you. But I assured him that it will. So if it don't, I'm gonna give him $50. So, but yeah, if I submit modern to PSA, it ain't going unless it's getting a 10. Like it's
Yeah.
like sports cards. PSA 9 sports modern cards sell for the raw price, and that's the way Pokemon's going to be trending here. PSA 9 modern Pokemon should be selling for around the pack fresh near mint price, and the 10 will probably be the only premium in most cases.
Yeah.
So
Do you do a lot of stuff from Japan? I know I saw you got some of the vending series unpeeled, and
yep.
I was curious if how much stuff you do from like Bai, or how much stuff you do in Japan or get from
I
Japan.
did two purchases through Bai. One was small. It was like I forget some random card. I forget what it was even. And then I did another one, and I got scammed. And I
Yep.
posted a bit. It was buying a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they were fakes. And pretty much dealing with that, it just sounds like a nightmare. So I just I put them in a binder as keeping, and I was like, I'm good. I'm not
Yeah.
going to buy any more from Bai, and I haven't. But the Japanese I have, like those vending cards, were purchased through Heritage
Mm,
in a weekly auction. Absolutely, it was one of my favorite sets. It was beautiful, just crazy art set.
yeah.
I never had even imagined seeing ever. So seeing
Yeah.
them come through like a year, 2 years ago when I got back into it, I'm like, what the hell are these? Like, they're pretty cool. So they
Yeah.
definitely stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, buy is annoying. It's like the complete opposite of eBay. eBay is all about, okay, is the buyer happy? And buy is like, we don't care about you.
Yeah.
Whatever
You,
happens, happens, you
yep.
know?
You but whatever you bought, Godspeed. Like,
Yeah.
good
I
luck. And that's terrifying.
I think it's my I think it was my first purchase through Bai. I bought a Mario Pikachu and Luigi Pikachu full arts,
Oh yeah.
and they were both fake. And it sucked. But
Did you?
thankfully, it was like extremely cheap. So I probably should have known from the get go.
Yeah. No, same problem here.
But yeah, it was. And then recently, I just bought a Game Boy Promo Dragonite, and it's a completely different card than the one that was in the pictures. No swirl, scuffed all the way around the edges. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it can be brutal sometimes.
Yeah. So do you do much more like any sealed products through there? Because I know some people do like buy their booster boxes and stuff. And
I've bought a couple booster boxes off of a site called AmiAmi,
yeah,
but I haven't. That's more of like a legitimate business that they have like physical locations in Japan.
yeah,
So I feel better
way
buying
better.
through them. But yeah, I haven't bought a lot of sealed product through Bai, just
Yeah.
singles.
And I see it's crazy because I see like Yahoo Japan auctions all the time, like people buying these like the Magikarp snap promos and stuff
Mm,
like that. And it's like dropping $100,000 on this
yeah,
thing and buy you like, dude, you smoking dope?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Too much, too much.
that's like that's insane. Like couldn't
Yeah,
imagine. I couldn't imagine spending that kind of money. It'd definitely have to be like I'd definitely have to have a guy in Japan doing
yeah,
this for me, and I'm paying him well to do it to buy those kind of cards.
yeah. I'm hoping to. I went to Japan at the end of 2019, right before coronavirus started,
Wow.
and that was super awesome. It was a 10-day, really cool vacation, and I wanted to go back, but they've been closed for the last 2.5 years. So they're opening up. So hopefully next spring I'll be able to get back there and do some Pokemon shopping. But
Hell yeah. So in 2019, that was like before you kind of got back into it or into
yeah,
Pokemon?
I wasn't into it at all until the end of December, I think, around Christmas time. I
Yep.
was watching all the Twitch streamers opening vintage boxes and stuff, and I was like, just open a Darkness Ablaze booster box because it has Charizard. And I opened it, I got the Charizard, the VMAX in the first
Yeah.
box, and then that's what got me hooked back into buying cards and collecting again and stuff. So
Hell yeah. That's cool though, man.
yeah, um, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but I made a lot of bad mistakes right away.
Which Twitch streamer?
I was
Any
mostly
particular?
watching like the Mizkif
Oh
when he
yeah.
was doing all that stuff with Island Grown and stuff. So
I remember
yeah,
I forget what it was. He was doing like a Team Rocket box. His friend was doing a Team Rocket box and he showed up, stole the Charizard or some
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. That one was crazy
That was hilarious.
because he was opening the box, but he was like destroying all the cards in it. He
Yeah,
basically
that's what it was. He was
yeah,
like boiling them and
yeah, yeah, um, yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah.
It was
He
pretty
lived next
nuts.
door or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Um,
hilarious.
So a little bit of a different topic, but I want to talk quick about WATA before we wrap up stuff. But I had my first experience recently with WATA, and it was not a good one. Have you graded with WATA, or do you buy mostly just already graded stuff?
Yeah, I've graded with them before I ever bought anything from them, which was cool. A good experience, I guess.
Yeah,
That was right before their boom, so it happened. The turnaround for my first submission was pretty good.
yeah,
But yeah, I have graded. I graded my Halo 3, my Grand Theft Auto games. I bought the ice hockey from Heritage and Halo 2. So no bad experiences yet. they've all been pretty good and pretty fair grades for the most part. Why?
Yeah.
What happened to you, man?
Oh, I think I submitted at a time, I guess, when they were hitting a boom, so a lot of the turnaround times weren't accurate. And then on top of that, when I would push for answers, they basically would claim that they didn't have enough of the DVD cases
Yeah.
because of plastic shortage. So it was like a year before I got my game that I had submitted last April or whatever, that I finally got it back like last month. So it was brutal, and they never updated their turnaround times, and they never, it seemed like their communication was not great. And I know, I think I saw that they have like a class action lawsuit on them now for some of that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, they're in for a ride. Yeah, it's funny that PSA, this people that own PSA own WATA, and they both had terrible backlogs, and it was all the same yet different. And the people at WATA definitely have a hill to climb with some of that crap, but it's definitely they've turned a leaf and it's doing pretty well. Their customer service seems to be pretty bad,
Yeah.
so that's good for CGC because they're going to be grading
Yeah.
video games by the end of the year, which will be pretty cool. I got a stack I'm sending to them once they do.
Do
Um,
you know, I don't know if this is information that has come out yet or not, and obviously you can decline to answer if you can't, but
I don't
do
have
you
many.
know what like what they're going to be grading when it first comes out? Is it just going to be like vintage up to a certain point, or is it going to be everything, or I don't know if
I
that information
believe,
is out there yet.
yeah. So on their they have a Instagram CGC Video Games, and they posted recently, and probably in the last couple of days, a screenshot of every system, and it's pretty much everything,
Oh,
all the way up to PS5.
that would be crazy if they just came out the gate grading everything.
They said that's what they said is when they open, these are what we're grading. So
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
they're probably just buying and doing it because they haven't even revealed what it looks like yet. I haven't even seen it. Nobody's seen it except for people at CGC that got sneak peeks.
Yeah.
But they're still either they're solidifying which one or they're just buying tons and tons of them to be prepared because WATA is WATA. They have issues with their backlog and it's still backlogged, and some people have issues with a case. It's not amazing the way they do it because the labels folded inside of it, and it's got I
Yeah.
don't know, I got some little rips in the corners. It's way better visually than VGA personally. VGA is like BGS, archaic paper submission. CGC is going to step in and it's going to be a well-oiled, greased machine. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they're going to
excited.
be right up there with WATA, probably leading the pack. So, and they'll probably have the pretty blue labels match their comics and trading cards. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to just kind of have everything. Everything is the same label, like across the board. Be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
What games you grade?
Well, I just thought I would try it at the time because I had never done it before. I was like, oh, I'll just submit a couple of games. I bought some Wii copies, or Wii U copies of Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
submitted a couple of those because at the time, and like a 9.6 or whatever, they were like 300-400 bucks. So I was like, I can get it for 80 sealed and 80 to speed run grade it.
Yeah.
Not very speedy, but
No.
and now I can basically just make my money back on them. So yeah.
Yeah. Those hit the moon just like Pokemon, and they came down.
Yeah.
But they're still freaking insane prices on some of these games. Like it's I love watching Heritage, the video game auctions. There's a guy I watch. I don't know if you've ever seen him get the Greg Games.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a riot to watch. And yeah, the Heritage auctions, the prices they achieve every quarter they do it just blows Pokemon out of the water a lot of times still.
Yeah.
Except for like those super rare, unique trophy items that are kind of competing with the ultra rare video games.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was I didn't have any sealed games, but I think like 9 or 10 years ago now. I used to go around to garage sales all the time and find, a bucket of Nintendo 64 games and stuff. And I had quite the collection at one point. And then right when I was graduating college, I I kind of did it to pay for college. So right when I graduated, I was like, all right, I'm gonna sell everything, and I sold everything. It was like $35,000 worth of games, and now I'm just kicking myself every single day. I'm like, God, I wish I still had that collection. Why did I sell it? But
Yeah.
it
Yep.
paid off a lot of college. So
Yep. It definitely turns into money right when you have it, and you turn that money into something else. So
yeah,
yeah, that's why I'm always buying and selling through. I bought cards at the peak and sold through the peak, and I was looking at an old message. I had a message, an offer of 3 grand for a CGC 5.5 first edition Venusaur, and
dang,
didn't sell it, which I'm an idiot. So I hate looking back on old stuff because
yeah.
huge L's. But
It all went
yeah,
so fast. It went up fast and it came down fast, and now we're
yep,
just kind of feel like we've settled in a decent spot where it's decent time to buy again, and you know, we'll see what happens from here.
yeah.
But
The prices were insane. I had like the craziest one for me because I didn't have tons of. I was buying more of the higher end stuff. I was probably taking some fat L's on my Zapdos cards, but I bought and sold a Venusaur PSA 8 first edition and sold it for $5,800. That was awesome.
yeah, that is
That
awesome.
was crazy. And looking now, like what does that cost? Probably 2 grand, something like that. It's crazy.
Probably,
It's
yeah,
come down so much on the vintages. Good time to buy though. I'm
yeah.
enjoying it.
So, you big Halo fan back in the day? Did you play a lot
Yeah,
of it growing up?
lots of Halo 3 was my main gig. And
Oh yeah,
then pretty much after I beat the crap out of that game is when Call of Duty started.
yeah. Exactly the same progression here. It was like
Yep.
Halo 2, we used to have like we used to put together like 6 or 8 TVs in our garage with like 20 some people, big LAN
LAN party.
parties.
Yep.
And then Halo 3 came out. That was like all of high school, and then Modern Warfare 2 was like that was the next thing for
Yep.
me.
Yeah, it was my buddy got me started playing a little bit. It was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And then World at War is when I really jumped
Oh
ship.
yeah.
And then obviously Modern Warfare 2, we were every night 6-man parties, just no life in it.
Yeah.
24 hours up, didn't matter. I remember doing like the midnight releases, going to the like they'd have midnight tournament releases, and to win a free copy, I got second place one, which was cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, but yeah, I loved it. I just like doing it with friends. That's like doing it by
Yeah.
myself now. It's like it's all right, but
Yeah.
it was more just getting to the party, talking with the bros, and clapping some noobs.
Yeah. Do you still game now when you have the
Yeah,
time?
it does. I did a lot. So before Pokemon, I was doing my side hustle was buying and selling skins in Rocket League.
Nice.
So I would like just like I always forget the name of the shooting game on PC that you buy and
The
sell skins on.
CS:GO.
CS:GO, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar concept, but not as expensive as stuff. But you could get in there. I bought and sold like a $300 item a few times, and to me that was a lot of money for what was a digital thing.
Oh yeah.
And then Pokemon trumped video games because I got a lot more money in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because usually I was just flipping $5 thing here, $5 thing there, but it was a free game too. So, but I got really good at Rocket League, pretty dang good at Apex Legends, and those
Nice.
are pretty much the two games I play now when I pick it up. Um, which is pretty rare because of YouTube has taken a lot of time
Yeah.
at night. So having a family, usually I sit down around 9:30 to do the Pokemon, the eBay listings, which I have been slacking on hard the last 4 months, and just making YouTube content because I thoroughly enjoy it. So
Yeah.
taking a severe backseat. What about you? Any good games you playing?
Well, honestly, Rocket League.
Yeah.
That's the game that I play more consistently than anything else.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
I fell out of PvP style games for a while. I think PUBG was the last one that I was super into.
Yeah.
And then kind of fell out of that because I'm not very good at shooters. And then I tried Rocket League, and that was just a really good like PvP, no shooting, just flying around hitting the soccer ball. So
Yep.
uh, yeah, it is very fun.
Hell yeah. No, that I remember I went to I was literally a LAN party. Like this dude for I think it was not a bachelor party, but he was like, hey, let's have a LAN party. That was it's probably 6 years ago. And I was like, I showed up with like nothing because I didn't really have I had like I played some Call of Duty here and there, but
Yeah.
they're like, hey, sit down, play Rocket League. I'm like, I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. These people are flying all around me and I'm just driving on the ground. And from there, it was history. I'd go home, I'd download it. I'm like, this is amazing. It's just, I
Yeah.
love sports and competition, and that game does it all. You get defense, offense. The skill level in that game is like unmatched.
Yeah.
Like
You
the
can have
range
fun
is
with it
insane.
playing just normal and being bad. You can still have fun.
Yep.
But then when you start climbing, you start doing more aerials and you start doing stuff that's more complicated, like the skill ceiling is high.
Yep. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. No, it is. It's awesome. I
Yeah.
got out of it, unfortunately, like not out of it, but pretty much when they did the like you can play across platform is when I kind of quit doing it so competitively.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely a good game to sit down and kind of chill and think about life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, so last question. As far as WATA goes, in terms of, I think a lot of times these grading companies can have these lawsuits kind of levied at them, especially these, class actions. Do you, it feels like from a person who has no grading experience coming into the last year and a half, it feels crazy to me that people just kind of accept that this is the way that things are, because I don't feel like we would accept these types of like wait times, customer service from like any other service industry. And for some reason grading is just like, yeah, we're cool with it. Like people get
Yeah.
mad, but there's no recourse.
Completely agree. So I'm really interested to see how this one sticks. Because if this sticks, PSA probably will get slapped similarly, and possibly CGC similarly. But we'll see. Um, but yeah, my wife would be through the roof if they took a year and a half to give me a couch. Like, like
Yeah,
if I bought
exactly.
a, if we walked into this place, yeah, I want this one. All right, we'll have it there in 18 months. Sound good? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, good luck, bud. I'm gonna have a different family by then. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have more people. I'm gonna need a bigger couch. Like, you need to, yeah. No other industry would accept that. Being
Yeah.
told what we get quoted, not quoted, but they say estimated turnaround time. So they kind of cover themselves by putting estimated. Um, and I'm sure that'll be their fight in court. Well, we didn't say it's officially going to be
Yeah.
90 days. We put estimated. Well, it ended up being 3,000 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so it's going to be very interesting how it plays out in the next few months. They've got something to go on, like because it is insane the turnaround times, and no other. I could not imagine any other thing. Me walking in to buy something or pay for a service and being told 90 days, and I would ask for my money back after double the time normally. So
Yeah. I mean, it's weird that they don't offer anything either, like to the customers. There isn't like a, yeah, we'll give you, 10% off your fee or 20% off your fee because it took us so long, or anything like that. There's just nothing. It's just like, and people just accept it and move on.
there would be a huge respect for the first company that ever did that, but it would
Oh
never
yeah.
happen just because they know we want them back to make money in most cases. A lot of people, of course, submitted cards they just wanted slabbed for themselves for their personal collection. But like me and a lot of other people, the cards were submitted for grading originally were to
To sell.
profit.
Yeah.
So get them to me as fast as possible. And the faster you do that, faster I make money. I ain't gonna complain. So,
Yeah.
and of course, it took sometimes it was fast, sometimes it took a year and a half, which is crazy. I don't have anything at CGC currently. All of it's back. So
Yeah, I just sent a small one out. Hopefully we'll come back in the next couple weeks, but
was it
otherwise,
obviously not bulk? It wasn't something different.
it was economy. It was
Yeah.
few Japan or all Japanese cards, but a Munch Pikachu and a McDonald's Squirtle and Charmander and some other stuff. So
Oh yeah, those are nice cards.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it took a month for my last economy. Is that $25 a card?
Yeah, the one above book.
They need to drop that damn price.
Yeah.
I can't wait until PSA does turn head around, because then people start dropping their prices. So
Yeah, I
until
could.
then, I'm sure CGC will stay the course, and because they're less than half the price on bulk and half the price on economy. So
Yeah.
no reason to drop them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I really appreciate you joining me tonight for this chat. I had a lot of fun. It was awesome, and thanks for joining me.
Oh yeah, man. No, I appreciate the invite. It was glad we got it in.
Thank you once again to Josh Dagreenshiz. Definitely, you guys have to go check out his channel. He makes a lot of awesome content around Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, all sorts of different collectibles. And as you could tell from our conversation, he's just an overall cool dude. So definitely go over and subscribe to his channel. Check out his content. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. We'll see you on the next video.